Good afternoon. My name is Dina. I'm a Syrian student pursuing a PhD at the University of Hyderabad in India. The title of my research paper and this presentation is Verbal Morphology and the Prosodic Model, Modern Standard Arabic versus the Latakian Syrian Dialect. The paper examines native speaker data from both Modern Standard Arabic and Latakian Syrian Arabic, henceforward referred to as MSA and LSA respectively. The paper assigns structural description to data from both dialects, analyzing them and attempting to draw a comparison between them as far as verbal morphology is concerned. It also questions the veracity of the prosodic model, which was introduced by McCarthy in 1975, as far as the applicability of this model, of the schema, of the prosodic templates of this model to dialects other than the ones he discussed. Of course, from the Semitic family. Grammatical features, grammatical categories such as tense, mood, and voice are all investigated in the light of the prosodic model and its templates. Now, Arabic is said to be made up of language varieties which are not mutually intelligible. Now, out of these, I've picked two which are mutually intelligible. One of them is Modern Standard Arabic and the other is Latakian Syrian. Now, Modern Standard Arabic is the medium of instruction at all public schools and institutions. It is thought to be a binding factor unifying Arab communities into one cohesive society. And we've also got Latakian Syrian, which is spoken in the coastal city of Latakia on the eastern Mediterranean coast. Now, next, I highlight some of the features, some of the basic fundamental features of Semitic morphology and Arabic morphology by extension. It is said to be non-concatenative, non-linear. It's known as the root and template morphology. So every root is interdigitated with a vocalism and together they give us the binyan, they give us the template, they give us the word. Now, 15 templatic structures have been identified for verbs, and these are called binyanim. Others have been identified for nouns and they're called mishkalim, but the focus of this research is binyanim. Autosegmental phonology is revisited. As we know, has to do with tiers. So it represents sounds, vowels and consonants alike, on independent, autonomous tiers, which only get conflated when we speak. And we get the tier confluence and we get the speech as we produce it. The meaning of lexeme is compositional. The root gives us the denotational core meaning of the lexeme, whereas the vocalism gives us the grammatical meaning. So the root, k, t, b, okay, if we use the vocalism so we get kataba, alright, and if we use another, we get kettaba. So the difference is between the action of writing and having someone write something or causing someone to write or do something. Now there are 15 binyanim and there are two conventions of representation. One has been adopted and circulated all over the Arab world for ages, and that is using the pattern fa'ala for triliteral verbs and fa'ala for quadriliteral verbs. So every verb is measured against one of these two patterns. Every triliteral and every quadriliteral verb is measured against these patterns. And these are quite prevalent. You'd find them in all grammar books at every school. Now, the other model, which has gained currency due to its efficiency when it comes to accounting for these phenomena, is the prosodic morphological model, which was introduced by McCarthy. He hypothesizes that every Arabic verb has elements that can be arranged on three independent tiers. And this takes place at the underlying level of representation in the lexicon. So these tiers are the root tier, the skeletal tier, and the vocalic melody tier. Further, he suggests prosodic templates and these are they, CVCV plus seg CVC and CCV plus seg CVC. He does provide exceptions. Now, the objective of this research, part of the objective of this research is finding out whether these templates apply to LSA or not, using the prosodic morphological model. So, I first look at tense, and for convenience I divide it into past and non-past. So as far as the past is concerned, in modern standard Arabic, verbs are marked for the past tense using fatha or a short vowel a. So darasa, akala, okay, a short vowel a. And the template would be CV. If I move myself over, sorry, up there. So the template would be CV, 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 all right? And this is not the case for the LSA. Let's see. So we get daras, huwa. Oh, sorry, we don't say huwa, we say huwe, huwe daras. So CV, CV, C, which is perfectly reasonable under the prosodic model and its schema. So far so good. Moving on to the non-past. Now, if we take a present tense verb, use a pronoun, third person singular pronoun, okay, feminine. So let's say هي تدرس, هي تدرس. So we've got the root tier, we've got the skeletal tier, we've got the vocalic melody tier, and we've got a morpheme tier, the present tense morpheme tier. Right, so tadrusu, we get CV, CCV, CV, which is perfect. If we look at LSA, again we've got root, skeletal, and vocalic melody tiers. We also got a morpheme tier, but here we've got an additional consonant in the present morpheme tier. That gives us here tudros. Tudros, b, t, d, okay, ros. So b, t, d, r, tudros. So we've got C, 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 C. So 4 C's and then VC, and this cannot be found anywhere among the exceptions provided for the templates just introduced. Okay, so we seem to have a problem with the templates here. If we move on to another phenomenon, which is agreement. Now, in Arabic, there are 3 number categories. The singular is usually unmarked. The dual is marked in both MSA and LSA. Now, as long as the verb follows the subject, of course. It's marked with a morpheme an. So, إنهما تزهران, an. Okay, if we look at LSA, the dual is also marked, but the marker for the dual is the same marker for the plural. So الولدين راحوا والولاد راحوا. So the 2 children راحوا and the children راحوا. So it's u in both cases, right? Now, as far as the plural in MSA and LSA is concerned, it's always to do with the gender and the position of the word in the same way it was with the dual. Now, let's look at the templatic morphological representation. This is what matters for us. So in MSA, if we take a sentence like الأولاد ضربوا بعضهم, the children hit each other. So الأولاد ضربوا بعضهم. So we get ضربوا. Okay, so we get the root tier, skeletal tier, vocalic melody tier, and an additional tier, which is the suffixation tier. It does not appear in this representation, but it is there. So we get the template CV, 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 which is good for MSA. If we look at LSA, and we take an example, a similar example, the same sentence, but in the dialect of Latakian Syrian. Okay, so we say لولاد ضربوا بعضهم. لولاد ضربوا بعضهم. So ضربوا, we don't say ضربوا, we say ضربوا. So what we have here is a vowel missing here. So we've got a V in the skeletal tier that is missing. So a principle stating the need to drop the penultimate vowel here under this particular condition or circumstance is required. It is not there, and therefore the schema, the prosodic templates fall short of accounting for this in LSA. Okay. The third category discussed as far as verbs are concerned in both MSA and LSA is voice. Now the active voice is unmarked. The passive voice, on the other hand, is marked through, and how do we mark it? I mean, all we need to do is change the vocalization, of the verb, and then we'll be and then we'll be able to have the passive we want. So daraba, and let's look at it in two tenses, the past and the present. So if we say daraba, okay, daraba, so daraba, but we're concerned with the medial vowels. So daraba, it becomes duriba in the passive. So instead of we get u, I. So u, I is the vocalization required for us to have the passive. Okay, daraba, duriba, akala, ukila, darasa, durisa, u, I. Now, if we look at the present, we get a similar situation. Yadrob, yudrab. Okay, yudrab, u, instead of u, I. But an additional morpheme here is required. It doesn't have to do with the passive, by the way, it has to do with the present for this ya at the beginning. Okay, what about the template that we get? We get CV, CV, CV. Now, if we look at Latakian Syrian Arabic, now, okay, the same verb daraba or hit. Okay, if we say darab, okay, yani Malik darab Isam. Malik darab Isam. Isam darab. So Malik hit is Isam. Isam was hit. So Isam darab. So from darab we get darab. What do we have? Darab. So we have na, da following each other. What we need here is a separate additional tia for the passive itself. It's not, we don't have the present here. We don't have any like morphemes related to the tense. What we have here is the passive morpheme, the passive marker, and therefore we need a passive tia to accommodate this na. And the template we arrive at is CC, VC, VC. Okay, now this can be accounted for perfectly under the prosodic model and the prosodic templates. Now, other categories, verbal categories like mood, conditionals, and the division of verbs into strong and weak are investigated in the paper, and similar findings are arrived at. Now, the conclusions I arrive at come down to the fact that there are systematic differences between MSA and LSA. Now, LSA is more economical with its inflected forms in the sense that both, for example, the dual and the plural have the same markers, among other things. LSA is mood neutral, it is mostly gender neutral, and adjectives are used instead of verbs to express the present tense. But regarding the most pivotal point, the prosodic model, of course it succeeds in accounting for the phenomena and the categories and the binyanim in both modern standard Arabic and the Latakian Syrian dialect, but the prosodic templates of these prosodic, the prosodic templates of this prosodic model are the ones that pose certain problems. There are exceptions that need to be made for Latakian Syrian Arabic. The templates need to be tweaked for Latakian Syrian Arabic when it comes to the non-past and the plural, among other phenomena and categories. And these are the references. I appreciate your patience and thank you very much. Bye bye.